things I'd like you to take a look at as part of.
And you want to talk about this afternoon, or you want to talk about that tomorrow?
I can talk to you tomorrow about it.
Okay. Well, so for the there we go, screen sharing. So for the resources, kind of where we left things was describing.
I tried one,
wait, you tried one and you were successful, or you tried one and you weren't?
Worked perfect.
Oh,
Worked like a charm. You know, I can choose. Let's see, was that where I was? Because under the product pages, I'm just clicking the drag image. It's going to the computer, and I pull stuff. I'm not putting them in. I don't have to put images in the resource file. I don't have to make them a resource, correct?
No, let's look at it together.
You can go like to Coochie. Because I know I mentioned something about this earlier, and I went back to...
Really? Oh, it's not. It's my email address. So you want to look at managing a resource first, right? Or, I'm sorry, a product.
Let's do manage a product first, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
And
then it's Akeuchi, IKEU.
See a picture of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really because but I'm wondering if let's see here, choose subcategories, product description. Let's read that.
So we've got product categories, but there were no subcategories that showed up or made sense, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Product
overview. I just cut and paste it. I didn't do anything fancy. I put in a few.
Looks good.
Keywords,
right.
Product specs. I've got stuff, but so when you go down to
we're in the images.
Yeah, I just clicked right on drag and drop, and it took me right to my.
So
computer.
when you click on this, if you have room, drag and drop is fun. It's nice, and it allows you to come and make a folder location where you have a picture. Just gonna go to pictures.
Yeah. Okay. So it's supposed to do that.
And you're dragging the picture into that area, and you can drag and drop and kind of like drop it off in that location.
Yeah, I just kind of.
Or if you click, then it will do a normal open window, just like normal. So if you click, then it will pop up and allow you to select. In any case, when you're done and you choose a file, it's going to upload it to the system.
Okay.
If you didn't mean for that picture to go up, you just click on remove file and it removes that one.
Okay. So with images, I don't have to create a
resource
file.
Correct.
Just for
these are product images versus the ones down here being these additional images area. This is for you to upload for this product resource images. So it's kind of like those four are the top four pictures. The ones you put down here are the image gallery.
Gotcha. The image gallery is what you have to go to the resources for.
That is correct.
Okay, gotcha.
And there's a shortcut to it here. If I do product 284, I think. Yes, haha. So 284 is the one I've been playing with the most, and you can see that we have. Wait for the editors to load.
Okay, so there's the product image, and then.
Yep. So we have 4 images for 1, 2, 3, 4. So those have been set up in the system, but at the same time, at the bottom we have 4 additional images, and that's where these are these image gallery images. You want to add a new one, you can add it from here. You can add it from resources too. It's whichever way is most comfortable
Okay.
for you. If you're adding a bunch of resources today, go to the resources manager.
Okay.
If you're working on this one product, just work on it
The
right
new
here.
record is a
New record will add an image resource. Right.
image resource.
Now that's the only problem. I don't let you upload PDF resources from here or Excel spreadsheet resources from here. Those you do have to go over to the resources, but people often want to put in a bank of pictures, so we kind of made it easier by putting picture
Very
resources
good.
right here.
Okay.
You know,
Good.
either way is acceptable. in terms
Either way, they go into the same
Images.
records.
And then on the main page, I've changed.
But then too, of course, these are your resources. This is your spot where you're saying, okay, these are the resources for this picture.
that are
or for this
uploaded,
product.
right?
Yep. So we have one for this
And
example.
I think Akuchi's in there now as a resource.
Let's see.
Because I practiced making a new record.
Yes, we do.
So,
Perfecto. So this is 367. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the back button so I can get back to the manager screen. And from here, I'm going to click this. I've coded it so that it goes into a new window, so I can just click and load, and it'll load up in the new window. If it overlaps, don't worry about it. We're working on that. And again, it's us putting in rules that stop it from being able to do that. But one picture versus the other picture, it's working well. We've got our text, and we have two tabs, media and inquiry. Great.
that's good one.
That's what we need. And you had description versus overview. Yeah, this is good.
Well,
Already, you've tripled the amount of information that had been in the old website for some of the products.
Well, well, that one's brand new altogether. Well, I can't remember if that.
No.
I didn't check to see if there was anything in the old
It never
one.
made it in the system.
I gotta do that.
We couldn't,
That's right. It came along too late.
came
Yeah.
in too late. I couldn't build any files for it because it just crapped out.
Now, another one I did under products on that title up there, products, and then, let's see, textiles.
But it was a product that you added into the system?
Yeah, it was a product that I added, but it won't come up under managed products.
Then it's not a product.
Shell. It must not. I must have done.
What
Maybe
was
it hasn't been. It was
Oi.
wooden
Trying
shell.
Trying to get to this breadcrumb. Let's take a look. So part of what you can do here is you can search, obviously.
Mhm.
So if you remember wood was in there, I can
Mhm.
search the word wood. But right now to begin with, it's going to be sorted kind of by numbers and different things in the system, 197, 201, 211. So I'm going to say, you know what, I want to go ahead and order this by the date updated,
Oh.
and I'm going to
Oh,
put it
good.
reverse and sort.
You're going to get it right away.
And I should get the last ones that have been updated,
Yeah.
whether by me or you or anybody. So these are the last ones updated, and at the moment I don't see.
I must have hit. I must
That.
have say something.
Well, like I said, you can't do anything.
Yeah, no, I can't hurt anything.
No.
I added a picture to it, and I did I just added a picture. Oh,
Do you think you added a resource?
I think I went through it. I went to it through the product
Uh-huh.
at the top.
It should allow you to edit one way or another. If I come in here and what might that be underneath of?
I think it was under textile. Because I saw it, and I was like, oh, there, it was, yeah, okay. And then, I must not have been wooden.
That's it.
Wooden shells.
Yeah, see where, okay, so I did something wrong then. Obviously, that's not a product. That's, maybe I did something in the
Give me a
menu.
second. Give me a second. You created wooden shells as a category.
Yeah, you know what? I checked the featured product because I wanted it. I thought it would show up on the featured products and in products.
I
That's
think
what I
underneath
did
of
wrong.
here, you might have been on managed categories or managed subcategories. And if I had to take a look at
Oh,
this,
it's a category. Oh,
I think you created it as a category.
Okay. Yeah, because it was in that list, so it's a category.
Wooden shells.
That's right, because it was in that list, So
it's a good picture and it's in categories, but it's not a product, which isn't a problem. Sometimes things are categories and sometimes things are products. Sometimes things are both.
So when I add the description to the wooden shelf, then it will always be a category because it doesn't have that final page.
That's correct.
But I can do what I would do to it in a product.
It doesn't hurt. It makes another page with some good text and information in it. You might imagine being less detailed and more general, and then you get down to 4 different wooden shell descriptions for different products, and here it just talks about the idea of wooden shells, maybe. Long term, having more text and pictures to the subcategories and the categories, it helps overall. But we have had people who have a category and they don't have any products underneath of them. And the category might say, you know, something like information about this, please call us for specifics. They don't have an actual set of pages underneath. It just stops at that subcategory.
Yeah, I think this one stops at the subcategory.
Well, so for the
well, and on the front page I did find too.
Okay. But while we're on categories,
okay.
Mike was saying that he wanted to ask specifically about the categories, about rearranging them or renaming them or working on them, and that's kind of what we find ourselves in the middle of here. What can I help tell you about this? In some company organizations, categories are very clearly different than subcategories. In other outlines and organizations like the one that you currently have, I think that they're not as hard and defined, rigid things as they are with other companies. And I was describing to Dustin the other day that this is your current structure for now. And to get to this point took a lot of discussion and a lot of revising. You might have this now for a year or two. But as you get used to this and you get used to seeing what it does, you may realize you want to modify it further. And so it's almost as though you went from one structure or paper structure to now your first version of a category structure. And there's some things that are a little squirrely with it. You might realize over time, you know what, we can make this a lot more simple. And you rearrange further. And down the road, it's going to be different than this category structure is today. But we're setting it up so that you can control it. You can rearrange things. Outside of some weird exceptions, like on the home page with textiles, it follows the order that's here pretty well. So if you see a category you want to rename it, rename it. If you want to change the orders on those, change the orders on those.
I think specifically, Mike and I talked,
Yep.
I think it had more to do with like glow covering. It's one of the major categories, and the fact that it occupies that space, it becomes a matter of, we've got a subcategory in a couple of other areas.
Yeah.
And the discussion was, does it make any sense to continue to carry it
in those other areas? Because it's so major where it is, I understand that. It's a concern.
So that was one of the conversations we had, is that it's sort of like, well, we've got it as a major category. People can see it anytime they want. Is it really necessary for it to follow through the process to know that it's used for weaving or those kinds of things? I mean, do we actually need it further in the on the table?
Yep.
So it was just one of those. Let's think about it a bit, but ultimately, don't think it would probably make a lot of sense since it is one of the major categories of the website.
So the products themselves will stay connected to those categories and subcategories that exist.
Right.
And if over time you delete some of those subcategories, it doesn't hurt the product. It's still showing up where it can. You can completely unassociate a product from all the categories. It won't show up anywhere. Fine. Just reassign it to some new categories. You're never that far away from being able to add or remove things that you need to be worried that it's such a permanent change. If you feel like rearranging things, spend a little time, think about it, start rearranging them. If it doesn't look good or work well, put it back. I would encourage you not to delete categories straight out. I always tell people, make them inactive if you get a chance.
Right.
You can always go back quickly that way to what it was before. And when we have finished the drop-down menu, which also is working to a certain point, but it's not quite finished yet. When that is, I think you'll be able to see even better how it's expressed. Because when I look at a list like this, I get a little confused because I'm looking at warp, roll, and cutting, and they're short, 10, 10, 10.
Exactly.
What are they underneath of? I'm not sure. That's part of why this is here, and that's part of why the drop-down menu will help you see that. When that happens, it may make it, some things might stand out, and you think, oh, I got to change that. Other things will fall in line, and you'll think that it looks the way it's supposed to be. The nuance right now, just to visually describe to you what the difference is that we're having to go through, is that right now, a menu is prepared to pull out a submenu, and so this is technically a category, and this is a sub. But
it's underneath the screen.
But the list is also going to list products, and that's not what it does right now.
Right.
This is not here, and then here we've got subs, and normally we have products out here.
Correct.
But now we're also going to have product here.
That's right. That's right.
So that bit of logic is present, and when we put it in, you just put it. You think so. Fred has to combine and style them and work in them. So the connections are there. We have to work on them for presentation. So pictures, icons. The ones that are most visible are on the home page at the industry level. Lower down, the category pictures and paragraphs will show up, because if you're using the menu and you decide to go down to bobbin holders, and that's a category and it has other products underneath of it, you'll get a category header and a paragraph instruction about the category, and then you'll see the products and the categories underneath of them. So is it desperately important right now? No. But longer term, it's nice to set up that order of details. Many times when I'm discussing with clients, they might have 20 categories, 16 subcategories. You've got a lot more categories and a lot more subcategories. So there's definitely time that you have to spend in it, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth getting it so that when I click here, it's going to show me more than just an icon. It's going to show me a paragraph. It's going to show me things, and then it's going to show me the products that go up underneath of it. Home, though, is a little different in that these are from the industries or brands as they are inside the database. Yeah, this looks good.
Just the last one.
Yep, we'll connect that in. Right now it's hard-coded.
Well, I'll show you. Can I show you what I did?
Yep.
Because I may get to practice bringing something back from the recycle bin, because I was practicing the whole thing. Manage brands. Okay, so I practiced. It's like, okay, so if I want to put, I'm not saying that's the way it's going to stay, but so I want to move textiles under roll covering. So I gave it a sort order. But what it originally was textiles, knitting, textiles.
It was 4 categories.
Yeah, it was 4 categories in there. Yeah. So what I did is I changed one to textiles, industry name textiles, and then got rid of the other ones, which I can bring back from the recycle bin. But it won't add the text that I put in there, and it didn't move it.
Well, that's coded.
Because textiles, because what we did was a little something special here for this textiles, because there were 4 textiles, and so we basically said hide all the textiles, put in this one,
Gotcha.
This one. But if it is really coming down to just one that is textiles remaining, then that's going to be just fine.
And so you can put it all back. Well, actually, I was going to put it all back, but we came back in here.
All right.
Because I wanted to try that recycle bin.
I thought I was going to tell you one thing, just because I keep coming to management and I come to manage brands, and I thought, this is an example of the system being used to edit the system. I'm going to go into DNA management. I'm going to go to manage brands. I'm going to change the name of that to manage industries. That's how we update page names.
Great.
Now, you want the good news or the bad news?
Bad news.
So the page name here is Managed Industries. It's ready to go. So when you add a page and you delete a page, the deleted page goes into the recycling bin.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a module on a page and you delete a module, it goes into the recycling bin.
Oh.
When you go to a category and you just delete a category, that category is gone.
It's not in the. I deleted a category.
I can
off
make.
the front page.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't showing on the front page. It was hidden on the front page. But
No, it was there.
No, they haven't been there since
Oh, they were in the
all we had was
It's
textiles, but
but it's not a category. It's a brand.
you're fair. It's a brand or an industry. So, but those either way, some of these things don't go into the recycling bin. So it's that module is going to the recycling bin or a whole page is going to the recycling bin. Individual records of data, like an article out of the article manager, doesn't go to the recycling bin. You delete an article, it's gone. You delete a product, it's gone. That's why I say make them inactive instead. So here, this industries, there's no recover for that. We just have to set it back up again.
Oh, all the textile knitting, textile.
Mm-hmm. If you want them.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't want them showing in the top
Right.
top 6. We want them shown in their subcategories, which is essentially you can't let the whole tree disappear.
Now, this is separate, right, from category.
I wasn't going that far yet, but yes.
Yes, the whole tree disappears.
And that's where I'll tell
What?
Dustin
Yeah, the whole tree disappears.
What tree?
this
The whole
tree.
length,
We
all
go
the whole-
products
yeah.
and textiles.
Yeah, the whole tree disappears.
The other textiles that were visible here. Do you have the spreadsheet?
Yeah, she's got it right there. They disappear.
What it would have.
Oh, it's on the last page.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, there's finishing.
Yeah, they all disappear.
Yes, textile knitting, textile weaving. Those guys are gone as industries that then these categories can be underneath of. But let's say air jet nozzles. Is air jet nozzles one that's only under textile weaving?
Yeah.
Okay. So air jet nozzles is there now, and it's underneath of textiles, but that middle bridge in between,
It's gone.
the middle bridge item is gone.
Oh, I thought it was just the home page. I thought that was just the
Yeah.
home.
You said you can't hurt anything.
I can't. I mean, you can't. I can roll back
Boy,
to data from
Okay.
earlier. I could.
This is
Let me think of these relationships real quick.
this is how we learn. Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to see this relationship behind the.
Also, of in the system, every other item in the system has an active or an inactive button.
Mm-hmm.
Industry doesn't. It's just got a delete button.
Yeah.
We could make one, but it doesn't have one right
So
now.
you don't delete
So
it,
this one, they
How do you make it not active? Oh, code.
Yeah, we hid them.
You hit them.
We hid them in
Okay.
code. That's right.
Here's one of those hard code you couldn't do anything with.
Okay.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
okay. So those, I'm just trying to see this relationship in my head.
Well,
Those were.
I'll be honest with you. I added a list of things to address with you, Ryan, anyway, and one of them is sort of like laying out what the relations are.
Yeah.
Between things.
Yeah.
Because
That I
way
didn't see
it'll-
that coming
because
at all.
I was listening to Marie earlier, and you know.
Did you see it coming before
Yeah,
I brought it up?
I did sort of.
Good. I moved on to something else. I was like, okay, I got to bring this up, and here we go.
That's the bad news. That's
It was
okay.
bad news.
Okay, yeah, I don't get that relationship, but
You know what, something out of everything, probably one of the most critical things we're gonna wind up dealing with all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Complex. It's the most complex thing.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
I think because I can think in terms of relationships because of databases and, you know, all that kind of stuff, so. Well, I didn't see
kinda
that
got a picture of
coming.
this earlier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I took a picture, yeah.
So,
So that's not an individual module.
No.
That drives
It
product.
It drives everything.
Woo, I
Okay,
did not
so-
know that.
we
I'm
have,
saying, this is where we make the
Yeah, yeah.
not an issue.
Well, I picked a good one.
so,
It's probably good I didn't go in the recycling bin and not see it there. I probably would have fainted.
you said, well, I'm gonna go there and look, it's like, we could look into something there. Okay, so, best way to describe this is that we have so these are relational tables, and
Mhm.
we can create new relationships as we need to. But in general, the way that it is normally made up is that you have brands, and those brands underneath of them have categories. And normally you have brands, and a product is made by a specific brand. It's rare that you have one product that is made by multiple different brands. Or if it is, it deserves to be a separate product. This is product A from brand 1, and this is product B from brand 2, and therefore you want them to be separate products. So there are some absolutes, as in, right now, product can only be underneath of one brand, it can't be underneath of multiple. That would be
Right, one
originally
industry,
just
yeah.
one.
You have to choose one industry with you.
Right. When we talk about brands, brands is your industry.
Okay.
That's the way we've chosen to put things because your industry is really your parents of your categories and your subcategories.
Okay, okay.
So when you create your categories, they are underneath of industries. So there is a direct need for a category to be underneath of an industry. That is normally how it shows up underneath of the menu system. Categories don't have more than one brand. Categories don't have more than one industry. And we bumped up against that as a problem before. It makes things simple. It makes it so that if you have very simple products, it's very easy to do across. But if you have the same category underneath of two different industries, how do you handle that? We have some options, but the way that we've chosen to handle it is this can be category A and category B and category C. They're technically different category ID numbers, category 1, category 2, category 3. They all say, I don't know, Whedon or something like that.
Okay.
They're three different things, but they're really the same words.
Mm-hmm.
They could be different words. You might be able to put the name of the industry and the category and combine it together and make a little bit of a longer set of words, and then it would imply some different meaning. Or not. It really doesn't matter, but in the end, categories can have subcategories underneath of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this starting structure of industries, have categories, have subcategories. Now, because people want to search in different ways, and because Atom allows you to organize your data, your resources, and let people look things up however they feel like it. Maybe they want to look up by industry. Maybe they want to look up by product. Maybe they want to look up by subcategory. We have some things where there are relationships that help strengthen that network.
Mm-hmm.
So products are also in industries. So that if you come into just converting, you could see a complete list of all the products that are under converting. It doesn't matter what subcategories are underneath of. It's an instant way to see an industry listed with all the products. So that allows you to connect to and see these products that are underneath these industries. Now, a product, though, can have relationships to categories and relationships to subcategories.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it doesn't matter how many you have. So it can have multiple different relationships to these things. Because you can look at this product being in the 3 different subcategories, and this product being underneath the 2 different parent categories. when we display these, there are, I'll say, 3 places where they get displayed. Number 1, in the menu navigation. We want people to be able to get through the menu navigation and go through some type of hierarchy here so they can get down to this product in the end. So the menu navigation is one place that they're going to see some of this structure expressed. Number 2, search. When they type in some words in the search system and they hit submit, it's going to give back records of information, and that can have breadcrumb trees, breadcrumb lists that show you, oh, it's this brand, this category, this subcategory, here's the product. It's also how we organize things, because we might display it and display it in groupings of all the subcategories and the products in the subcategories. So that's the second place it shows up in search. The third place it shows up is on the pages, categories and subcategories. So you've chosen an industry, you go ahead and click, you go down, and now you're in categories. Well, we're going to show subcategories, but we're also going to show a list of products. So
this is what we're seeing when we click on.
So, so when we take a look at the pages, we might look at an industry page, and that industry might show the categories underneath of it, and then it might show all the products for that industry. When you look at a subcategory page, a category page, you'll see the subcategories that are underneath of it, and then you'll see all of its products. When you get to the subcategory page, you'll just see all the products. Think about Google wanting to have so many different cross-references of these things. This is a reinforcement of the words and the message that you put into these things, showing up for these products. It's a quick way for Google to say, oh, you're interested in converting. You're doing searches about converting. You're not doing searches about nonwovens, and you're not doing searches about roll coverings. You're doing searches that are converting related. Google doesn't want to drop you here. If Google could drop you here and know that here is a much more targeted version than here, Google's going to drop you right here. Deep linking and this different ways of displaying all of these same kinds, it might be the same product we're showing here. If you had to set those up as a human, you think, oh, what a pain in the neck. I've got to set up the same product here, and over here, and over here, and over here. Because it's in a system, it gets easier for us to display that. And there's a line between this is elegantly organized and now I can see everything I want to versus this is chaos. We are navigating that together right now. So the menu system is getting organized. The search will be getting organized. The manager right now is just a full flat list, but it can also get organized. But that's the main set of things.
Okay. So you had gone in there and with some code and hidden the textile knitting, textile, the other 3, and just textiles showed, and then, but behind the scenes, those were the categories that were coming down. They were interlinked. Okay. Yes. I can see that very clearly now.
So what I can tell Dustin to do is go back to his import spreadsheet, and he's got these scripts. And I'll say, hey, find those scripts. And okay, these scripts, not those. Skip these scripts, rerun these scripts, and it'll go back in again. But yeah, if I go to the code here, literally in our code, it's doing something like saying hide category 15. And 15 was...
As a matter of fact, that's exactly what we saw earlier today. We went through it. There was a hide. I don't remember what the number was.
What the number was.
You did reference a hide category when we started to take a look at it.
Brand ID not 20, 21, 22, and 23. So 20 was probably industry textiles. 21 was one of the variations, 22 and 23. And so those are being hidden. And then this was being hard-coded in here. You know, if I do this. And comment that out. Then you're going to see 2 textiles show up. One of them is the actual database record, and the other one is going to be the hard-coded one. So textiles, there's the text you wrote, and then there's the other one. And so I could come in back to it again and say, okay, let me hide the...
And you don't need both.
No. You would want both.
No.
You wouldn't, and what it was going to is a special type of page
Right.
for that one. But that's the story of how that works. Okay, so with resources. You've uploaded some of the resources. You're starting to post them up. Let me mention the 4 or so different types of things you can have as resources. Because right now we've talked about
Pictures.
pictures and we've talked about PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not all.
Okay.
Videos has its own manager, so be aware that if you
Videos
wanted
are-
to,
okay.
if you wanted to have videos, there is a video manager. So video manager is right above resource manager,
Okay.
and it allows you to load things in separately or differently.
Okay, so it's different.
It is different.
Okay,
So just-
resources. Okay.
Just so you can see what's here, I've put in a couple of example videos. I grabbed a grease lighting video, and then you did have 2 videos as part of your own resources.
Right.
I went to take a look at them, and they're an older format. They won't play through these modern players. So I was going to ask you that if you wanted to have these types of things, they're your videos that you found from somewhere, we set up a YouTube account for you, and you upload it to YouTube. YouTube then is the converter and equalizer, and then we just plug in the YouTube, and it plays. But this video manager basically lets you see them as a proof and then see them as records down below. That's kind of how the video manager works. But the resource manager lets you categorize your products, resources, and these categories are things that you can manage. We have some that we think are common. Case study, general, which is everything. Brochure, instructions manual, documentation. But if you said, I don't know, stitch count conversions, or I don't know, some type of document or file that is specific to an industry that you want to show. If you have chemicals and solvents and you have some of those official documents that talk about if you wanted to have that as a category, you could create that as a category, and then you could see those, as a group of things. But as far as managing them and uploading them, even within that, they can be pictures, they can be PDFs, they can be spreadsheets, they can be PowerPoint, but they can also be things like a whole page of content or a link to somebody else's website. So when we talk about resources, there's a reason we don't call them files, because they're not just files.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Yep. So here it's kind of finished up, loading. So we have our category of resource. So this is that list that you saw earlier. We can add to it and revise it. You can certainly choose any category you wanted to for these things. The industry is one of those top industries, so you can see all the resources for an industry. The title is going to be visible in several different types of lists. The description will show in search results and in the resource library. So when we think of the public going to this resources section, this documents library, that's where the description will show up. The paragraph will show up next to a product, a resource. But here are the 4 things you're able to choose. Number 1, a resource URL. If you choose a resource URL, you can put in apple.com, and this thing will show as a resource. It'll get a different icon that shows it to be a web page. If you click on it, it'll go to that other web page. I've had people use this to post links to articles about themselves. Now, you also have an article manager, and so in that situation, you might choose our articles go in the article manager. Articles other people write go into the resources section. Arbitrary rule, but you can decide how you want to organize these things. I've had people put resource links as links to the product from the manufacturer's website. I've had people put it to industry websites and industry things where there might be, OSHA records and information on things, or different things. Okay, make a website as a resource link. It shows up in your list of things, and it's searchable, and that's a thing you can use here. File name is most common. That's where you're dropping in whatever the file is. There are some restrictions, but that's because we set them up. So if you tell me I need to be able to drop in CAD files or some file format I've never heard of, we just have to go put it in the list of allowed file types. So at the moment, it takes most common Office-related formats. PDF, zip file, Excel, XLSX, all those different types of things.
PowerPoint, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The only thing that you might think to drop up, it won't take an EXE. An EXE is a program, you know, it won't.
Right.
It will not take an EXE. So file names, that's most common. Through this location, we have a 6 meg upload limit. So if you start to upload something that's 11 meg, it's going to balk and say, hey, I can't upload more than 6 meg. The way to do that is normally by FTP. You FTP up something that's bigger. Or if your threshold is more commonly 8 meg, then I just up the threshold a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It's just a protection for you as well, because the bigger that file, we have to change out the upload system because it needs to be able to upload. And this one for resources is best suited for fast uploads. We have a completely different one that's in the Atom system, which again is what you're being built into, but we haven't connected those pieces yet. This is the normal Resource Manager front end.
Okay.
The Atom one can
When you
upload.
said FTP.
Yes. Do you currently FTP things? We can give you the passwords and permissions that you can FTP up if you wanted to upload it.
Not right now, we don't.
I would rather you go through here because you fill out everything when you do it.
Well, that was the key. Remember, we had a conversation about it early on.
Mm-hmm.
And given the fact that this sounded like a better mousetrap, so to speak, would be a better way to go because our customers and everything else, once we put it into the, once in the resource management,
You want them to come into here.
Once you get into Atom, we'll be able to track and trace everything that they do and have that information.
Okay.
So the third thing is video, and you can put in a file name here, and this can be an MPEG. This can be pretty much MPEGs are the main things. You can also have M4As or M4Vs. Yeah, those are the new versions, and they also load just fine. If you put it in here, this is a resource as a video. That's a little bit differently than the Video Manager. The Video Manager shows them all to you pretty and stuff like that, but it's also a place you can put them. Alt-HTML, though, is that fourth one that I wanted to mention. And that's because you can make a resource be a page of text with some more links in it, and those links might go to other resources or to other people's websites or something. So we've had people create resources where they will have bullet point lists of links of resources, like a curated thing of, top 10 resources for blah, and that becomes a resource of itself.
Okay.
It is a dynamic page, and it goes in the resources section. We've also had people take that opportunity to copy over the text from an article and turn it into here. You already have an article system, so I would say the better place to put that is in the article system, but it can also go over here as well. I imagine you using it to put in some block of code of some kind. The other thing that sometimes people will put here as a resource is we've had some people with equipment, machinery, where there might be a flash presentation or there might be some HTML code that is given to you by the manufacturer, and they say, hey, you can drop this onto your website, and it's a tool that shows you how to configure XYZ. Well, okay, you can put that into the product page, and you can put it into the specifications section. But you can also put it here as a resource. Put it in the HTML block. Then you're going to have your product information, your tabs. Then this thing is going to show over here as a little block that says resource. You're going to click it and go to this other thing to see it. So it's just another method or another place where you can put the things
once
as resources.
this is created as a resource, say I did set up the either paste it from HTML or set up a series of links, save the new record, how does it show up when I want to put it into a product? Does that make sense? So it's more than a file.
Okay, so we just created a resource that is different. If I go to brochures here, because I did make it a brochure, and I look for, test HTML resource, it's kind of listed as a file. If I go to click on it, it's going to go to this, looks like this link is going to break. Let's see what it does in the products. Essentially, it should show as a different icon. And when you have web pages, they show as different icons here.
Mm-hmm.
iTeco was Textile Yarns. That's why it's showing that error message. So, okay, here's my description, which is showing up because there's not an icon image, and it says test resource. We have to finish setting it up. It's not.
Okay.
It's not ready.
And then
What it should be is another icon here that is
Under media.
Under media, and it will show up as a resource. You know, just resources, and it gives an icon for a page because
Okay.
it's not a PDF, it's not a zip file, it's not a video.
Mhm.
It gives this little page icon, and
Okay.
then you click to it, and it goes to a separate page to show you this
The
information.
resource. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll leave this one in as a good example, and I'll have that formatted for you shortly.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about resources, and we talked about files. You've been working in products, and I wanted to ask about products. They're pretty well in good shape. Do you have any more questions about products, or where things go in products, or editing them, or are we in fairly good shape?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with the product. That's pretty straightforward. I'm not moving any. I'm just strictly adding content. So I feel comfortable, working with those.
Okay, so then when we do a next training session, we'll talk about admin. We'll talk about being an administrator. We'll talk about creating users and working with them. It's not difficult to power through, but here at the end of the day, I think it's safer if we just
Well,
pause.
the point of it all is it's really not one of the main topics that we'd be really focused on.
Right, when we were talking about like steps in a row to get through,
Yeah.
we talked about pages because that's what you're coming to next. You're in the middle of products right now. You're working on resources next. After resources, it's other pages.
Exactly.
Users is further down the line, but just to show it to you to begin with, we have your users in place, we have their user roles, and you have the ability to edit them and to delete them. If somebody says, I need you to reset a password or something like that, again, that forgot password is the best place to do it. But if I got to come in, I will come in and manage somebody's password, and they'll say, well, what was my password before? I don't know. It won't show me. All I can do is set a new one and then click change password. That's about it. Or I could come here and click send password link. It's the same thing if I do it from the other place. It's faster. So we'll show you about users. We'll show you about creating those users. And if you understand what we've been showing with pages and modules to describe those roles of who can see what, this is the other side of that equation. So you're saying, okay, I'm controlling a page or I'm controlling a module to say who can see what. Here, this is what roles these people are. These are the people. So now we're looking at one person here who's an administrator. But you can come in to say that Marie is also going to be a product editor. Someone who's a product editor can only edit products. They can't edit anything else. Someone else is going to be a customer and they're going to get client access. Okay? They can only see things. They can't edit anything. So we'll kind of go through those roles and talk about users and creating them and managing special hidden pages and sections. That's all to come.
I think now, for the here and now, based on where we are and what you need.
And I'm going to stop this so I can start the recording,
Sure, absolutely.
finalizing.